This audio presentation of the ABC of Truth, 35 Lessons for Beginners in New Thought Study by Landone, is brought to you by audioenlightenment.com, copyright 2017, all rights reserved. Chapter 1. God shines and you express. It is easy for you to understand great truth expressed in simple terms because great truth is always simple. On the other hand, it is often difficult to understand such terms as basal law, primal impulse, first substance, divine reality, etc., for they are special terms. Although special terms are true, I do not use them because to be understood is the one basis of all happiness, and great truth expressed in simple terms is the means of attaining it. We teachers and writers have tried sincerely to teach you truth clearly, but without intending to do so, we have often confused you by trying to teach you the qualities of God, instead of first teaching you just what God is. When we teach you qualities, we always leave your mind in a sort of a haze. For instance, when I state that in this room there is something which is 2 feet 4 inches high, I tell you it's true, an exact height quality, but you do not know just what I am talking about. Maybe a firm or a bronze Buddha or a Turkish water pipe or a stack of Bibles. So also, when I state that God is good, and that He is all abundance, I leave your mind in quite a haze as to what God is, although I definitely teach true qualities of God. The ideal of God is at once clear, however, when I teach you the great truth, that God is the spiritual sun, S-U-N, and sunshine of all existence. Lesson 1. What God is. First, God is a spiritual sun center. Second, God is the one spiritual sun center of all existence. Third, God is more than His sun center. Fourth, since God is a sun, He shines. Fifth, God shines only in one way, outward from His sun center. Sixth, since God shines out from His sun center, He is not confined inside of it. Seventh, God is both the spiritual sun and its sunshine. He is all there is. To state that God includes both His sun center and His sunshine is not contradictory. For illustration, your mind is not confined inside of your body, which is its center of activity in your body. Your mind radiates outward along nerves from its brain center to every part of your body, to make your heart beat, your hands move, your eyes see, etc. Your mind is not confined inside of its center of activity. So also God is not confined inside of His center. He is not only the sun, but also the sunshine of all existence. Please study Figure 1. It is only a few lines on paper, but it does represent the true idea of what God is. GSC is God's sun center of activity. All the rest of space outside of the GSC is God's spiritual sunshine. That is, GSS. It exists everywhere and shines everywhere. Hence, it is also all existence of everything that exists, ETE. Everything that exists and God's spiritual sunshine are one and the same. Study Figure 1 again. There is no outer circle. There is no limit to God's spiritual sunshine. God shines the ray A outward forever in the direction of which A should go. He shines A1, A2, A3, etc., each outward forever. So also He shines all the other quintillions of rays outward forever without limit of time and space, each in the way it should go. There is but one true ideal of God. Form its true picture in your mind, and you will never need anything else as a basis for understanding all truth clearly. First, picture God as the sun center. Second, picture God infinitely shining out His spiritual sunshine from His center in all direction. Third, picture God as the spiritual sun center and the spiritual sunshine of all existence. If you form this true picture of God in your mind now, and repicture it clearly but once each waking hour for 1 month, your whole life will be changed. This is not a mythical prophecy. It is God's guarantee, for truth shall make you free. Lesson 2. What you are. Of course, you are not God, for He is all existence. You are not all existence, because I myself and a few trillion other souls know that we also are parts of all existence. You are one of the spiritual rays of God's radiation. You are a particular ray of spiritual power shining forever out from the God center. Therefore, you are a part of the sunshine of God. You are a sunbeam of God's energy. You are a sunbeam of His intelligence, of His love, of His power, of His life, of His activity, of His joy, of His mirth. You are a soul beam of the spiritual sun. Since God shines outward eternally, He is forever in action. Hence, you are forever in action. You are manifesting now. You will be manifesting 1,000, yea, 1,000,000 years from now. You are, and always will be, one of the rays of God shining out from His sun center. Always think of God as the spiritual sun center and sunshine of all existence. Always think of yourself as a ray of His sunshine. The law of divine likeness. Sunlight is like the light of the sun, because the light of the sun radiates itself. Candlelight is like the light of the candle, because the light of the candle radiates itself. So also God's radiation is like God. His spiritual sun center radiates itself because there is nothing else for it to radiate. Since you are a ray of God's sunlight, you are like God. Hence, now and for all eternity, recognize the law of divine likeness. It is one of common sense. The sunlight of a sun must be like the light of the sun. Hence, you must be like unto God. Lesson 3. God's one activity. The physical sun in the sky actually shines sunlight. So God, from His spiritual sun center, forever shines spirit. Shining is God's one activity. He does nothing else but shine. His shining is called radiation. Radiation is motion which moves out from its center in all direction. By its nature, each ray always moves straight out from its own center, just as each spoke of a wheel extends out in its own direction from the center of the wheel to its rim. The complete meaning of radiation is this. 1. Radiation is activity. 2. It is movement directly outward. 3. It is movement outward in all directions. And 4. It is movement outward in all directions from a center. If you have been confused by trying to understand many, many different activities of God, forget the confusion. The great truth is simple. God has but one activity. Radiation is His only activity. His radiation, however, manifests in 1,000 ways. It manifests as mind, which conceives all things. It manifests as law, which directs all things. It manifests as desire, which impels all things, as attraction, which unites all things, as life, which reproduces all things, as love, which holds all things together. God has but one activity, shining. You have but one activity, just shining. There is a reason for shining. When God shines, He expresses Himself and creates His universe of all existence. When you shine, you express yourself and create your universe of power, health, riches, and happiness. Lesson 4. God's power in you. You are a power ray of the spiritual sun center of God, which radiates its power in you. There is plenty of proof of this, and there is proof that such power can come into manifestation almost instantly. There are actual proof in all history. One day a certain young man was writing letters telling of his inability to handle men. He was small, frail of body, and weak-willed. He did not believe that he could ever amount to anything. He was so weak in character that he planned to commit suicide. He was then only Monsieur Napoleon Bonaparte. Then in one night he became conscious of a great power. From that moment he fulfilled his mission as he saw it. To the world in all ages he became the great Napoleon. There are hundreds of other proofs. Among them is that of St. Paul. Stricken down in sand for the time, then arising in power, he carried the message of Christ throughout the then known world. And there is the experience of Cædmon, the stable boy of old England. He was ignorant, stupid, and uneducated, the butt of all crude jokes. Whenever he tried to sing, his voice cracked with ridicule. Then one night he went into the stable and prayed. He became conscious of power, and from that hour he sang with a beautiful voice, composed songs, and became the one great poet of early England. These experiences and 1,000 others are evidence of an eternal law which is always true. God is the great power center of the universe. He is all the power there is. He radiates His power. You are one of His power rays. You are forever radiating out from the God center. You never stop radiating power, for God never stops radiating His power in you. A ray of light must be like its source. A ray of power must be like its source. God's power is infinite. He actually pushes His power out into every ray of His sunshine. Since you are one of His infinite rays, you are a ray of infinite power from God. All power is yours. Do you have faith enough to use it? Lesson 5. Always in tune with God. Every one of God's rays always shines outward in its own path from the sun center, and never in any other direction. Hence, there is but one way for you to keep in line with God. God forever shines out from His center. You must forever shine outward. Oh, do you not see why you have so often failed in using truth? Instead of shining outward, you have been trying to turn yourself inward toward a spiritual center. Any such effort is in direct opposition to the very nature of God. God shines outward. You must shine outward. Right about face. Shine in the right direction. There is only one right direction. Since every ray of power of God forever shines outward from the spiritual sun center, the only right direction for you is to shine outward. God is always pushing you outward with all His power. His one activity is shining. You are like Him. Your one activity is to shine. You need not bother much about methods if you but let yourself forever shine. God is all there is. Radiation is His only activity. God radiates you outward in line from His sun center along the path of absolute power for you. There's but one way to keep in tune with God. Forever shine outward and express yourself. Lesson 6. Nothing in heaven or earth can hinder your expression of yourself. God is the one center of the universe. All power radiates outward from Him. He has but one activity. It is the activity of shining. Since He is all-powerful, nothing can change His shining outward. Nothing can twist or bend any one of His sunbeams out of its path. Of course, if God were a very, very little power center, like a candle flame, for instance, things would be different. The rays of the candle flame can be bent back. You can do so yourself by holding a mirror in their path. But the only reason you can do this is because you are more powerful than the candle flame. You can light the candle flame or blow it out of existence as you please. God, however, is all-powerful. There is nothing outside of God more powerful than He is. Consequently, nothing can exist which can bend back any one of His rays or turn any one of them from its straight outward path. There is nothing which can prevent a ray of God from shining outward forever. There is nothing which can bend back or reflect you from His path of power, because there is nothing outside of God with power enough to do it. Moreover, you cannot bend yourself back. God radiates you with all His power. To bend yourself back, you would have to be more powerful than God. That would be contrary to all God's shining of which you are a part. Therefore, since God Himself with all His power is pushing you out along your path, there is nothing on His path of power to make you bend to the left or the right. You cannot get off the line of your radiation, for it is exactly the same as God's line of radiation outward. You are a ray of God power. No power exists which can stop or hinder His radiation. Nothing in heaven or earth can stop you. You must forever shine outward and forever express yourself. Lesson 7. God's one aim and your one purpose. God shines outward forever. Nothing can stop His shining. He expresses His shining through you. His shining through you results in health and riches and happiness. The one purpose of all existence is expression. It is the one aim of God. That is why He radiates. That is why He is but one activity. He radiates outward into existence so that each of His rays shall manifest His power, energy, substance, mind, love, life, joy, and mirth. God radiates in order to express Himself in His creation. The great truth is this. 1. God shines outward from His sun center. 2. Expression is shining outward. 3. Expression is the only activity which is like God's activity. And 4. Expression is the only spiritual activity. Understand this clearly. Anything which interferes with divine expression is contrary to spiritual law and is not spiritual in itself. Repression is not spiritual, for repression means pushing back. In other words, repression tries to stop your shining. Expression is the one desire of your heart and soul. It is the whole purpose of your life. Since the one aim of God is to radiate himself into all existence, he radiates you so that you shall manifest that which he radiates. To accomplish his aim, he gives you his power. As a ray of God, you have all power to express whatever you need because you come from God. A ray of intelligence must be like the source from which it shines. God is all intelligent because he is the mind center and mental sunshine of all existence. All his intelligence is pushing outward in you. Let it shine. Instead of trying to turn it inward, let it shine outward in line with God's activity. Then it will flood every problem you ever have to meet with such illumination that its solution will be simple. A ray of love must be like the sun of love from which it shines. God's love is infinite and pushes outward in you with infinite loving desire. Stop trying to draw love to you. Stop trying to attract things and conditions and people. Let your love shine out in line with God's one activity. Then it will flood all things and conditions and people you love. When you are bathed in the sunshine of your love, you will want to remain in it forever. You know the results. On the one hand, whenever you repress or shut up yourself, you feel lack of power. Every lack you've ever known has been due to repression. On the other hand, whenever you freely express yourself, knowing that you are you feel like a god. Fulfill God's one aim. Express yourself fully every moment as a ray of God shining in full power, and you possess the power of God. Chapter 2. The 7 means of creating what you want. The means which God uses to create what he wants are basic truth. Since you are like God, a sunbeam of his sunshine, you can use the same means. In fact, to succeed in creating what you want, you must use them. There are only 7 of these means. The first 3 are attitudes. The last 4 are means of expression. They form the perfect triangle of attitude and the solid square of actuality. These 7 means are divine, for God uses them. Lesson 8. God knows that he is he. God knows his self-power. He knows he has power to create. He knows that he is he, and he proclaims it. I am the Lord thy God. I am the Almighty God. Even I, am the Lord. I am God, there is none else. Since you are made like God, you are you. Hence you have power to create. It is within you. Your wish is the prophecy of your intention. Your intention is the evidence of inner activity. Your activity is the demonstration in actuality. You are radiated directly from God. You are you. The Hebrew word, which is translated Lord, means master. Hence, to your universe which you create, you can say, I, even I, am the Lord. I am I. I create whatever I desire. Lesson 9. God knows what he desires. The second mean God uses is desire. God desires what he wishes to create and knows that he desires it. He desires one thing at one time and one thing only. In the beginning, when darkness was upon the face of the deep, God knew that he wanted light. At that time he expressed no desire to create grass or herbs or fish or flying creatures. In the midst of the darkness, he knew that he wanted to create light. Then, with all things in a mist, God knew that he then desired one thing, a separation of the mist, a firmament above and a firmament below. There was no uncertainty about the desire. The first means is knowing self-power. The second is desiring definitely one thing at a time. These are divine means, for God uses them. Make your desire divine. Make your desire divine. There is but one way. It is God's way. 1. Know that you are you. And 2. Desire but one thing at a time. This is oneness of desire. Oneness is holiness. Such a desire cannot be wrong. Because when you know that you are you know that you are like unto God, and hence your desire partakes of the likeness of its divine source. Desire only as God desires, with his oneness of desire. Lesson 10. God consecrates himself. God consecrates himself to create one thing at a time. When he wants light, he consecrates himself to creating that one thing, and uses the four means, mind, love, life, and action, to do that one thing and nothing else until that one desire has become an actuality. God gives himself up with absolute concentration to doing one thing at a time. This is the third attitude of God. It is divine. Your triune attitude. The first means of creating what you want is knowing your self-power, knowing that you are you. The second is desiring one thing at a time. The third is consecration of all your power to the act of creating the one thing you desire. These are the only three divine attitudes necessary to create as God creates. I am I, and can create. I desire one thing now. I consecrate myself, my thought, my love, my life, and my activity, to bringing this one desire into actuality now. Great truth is very simple. You can understand it, and whatever you understand, you can use. Lesson 11. God thinks what he wants. In creating whatever he wants, God proceeds from the three divine attitudes, self-power, desire, and consecration, to his four expressive means, which are mind, love, life, and action. The attitudes are within himself. The expressive means radiate out from himself. First, he knows that he is God. Second, he desires one thing at a time. Third, he consecrates all his power to creating that one thing. Then he uses the fourth means, mind, to begin the manifestation of what he desires to create. Its use makes clear what we mean by the truth that all things are of mind. Thus, fourth, God thinks his desire into a mind image of what he wishes his desire to become. He creates it in the beginning, which means that he creates it in thought, in his mind. Do as God does. It is easy to create what you want if you recognize that great truth is always simple truth and then use it. Within you feel the three divine attitudes. 1. You are you. You can create what you want. 2. Desire one thing now. And 3. Consecrate your soul to bring that one thing to pass. And then use mind, the fourth mean, just as God uses it. Begin whatever you want by thinking definitely about it. Create it in the beginning, that is, in your mind. Vision it just as you wish it. See all its details of form, its color, its size, etc. See it in relation to you, and know that it is already yours in the beginning. That is, it is yours now in mind. Lesson 12. God loves what he thinks. After God thinks the image of what he desires to create, he loves that mind image. Hence, God's fifth means is loving the image of that which he desires to create. God makes his fifth mean very clear in us in the first chapter of Genesis. He knows he has power to create. He desires the earth to be his actual manifestation. He consecrates himself to creating it then. He imagines it in the beginning, that is, in mind. Yet, since it is still in mind only, it is without form and void. Consequently, God uses his fifth means, the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Moved upon is a wrong translation. The Hebrew word has an innate meaning of love whenever used in every other verse in the Bible. Loving the mind image of what you want is the fifth means used in creating it. Love what you want. When you use only mind, you sometimes fail to secure what you wish. This is not the fault of mind. It is not the fault of what you have done. It is the fault of what you have not yet done. After thinking what you want, after you have formed its perfect thought image in mind, then you must love the image. Love it so that your soul will care enough about it to develop it as you want it to be. If, as a mother, you merely declare that your child shall grow up to be a man you wish him to be, he may not do so if you do not love him enough to help him be the man you wish him to be. So it is with the thought images which you form in your mind. The images of what you want to come to pass, you must love them, for love is the fifth mean God uses. Lesson 13. God multiplies by life. The sixth means which God uses in every phase of creating what he desires is life. Life is multiplying power. Life makes it possible for one plant to produce 100 seeds. Life makes it possible for one animal to produce 1 young or 10 young. Life makes it possible to use one design of a chair to make 40 chairs, or to use one dress pattern to make dresses for 1,000 women. Life makes it possible for one true ideal in one soul to produce the same ideal in the minds of 1,000,000 souls. To make one love in the heart of Christ multiply itself in the hearts of all people on earth. Live what you love. The reason why some mental images, which you hold in mind, do not come true is this. You fail to give them life. You hold them so fixedly that you cannot multiply them into other ideas which would make them come true. Hence they are stillborn. Let your idea of what you want multiply. Let your love increase. Let your life replenish all you desire to create. Don't limit your thought to one way of getting what you want. Let your ideas multiply. Give them life. Life is multiplying power. Lesson 14. God manifests in action. The seventh and last means which God uses is action. God manifests himself by action. The result of manifestation is actuality. In your everyday experience, this is very clear. The thought image of a chair does not and cannot become an actual chair except by action. A mind image of a chair never becomes an actual chair until someone makes it by action. Again and again we are told this great truth in the sacred scriptures, and it is strange that we have missed using it for so long. We are told the truth again and again. God made, God made, God made. Every mind image or ideal is turned into an actuality by action. Activity makes each desire become an actual creation. This is the seventh and culminating means of creation which God uses. All of God's means. First, God knows himself. He knows that he is he. He knows he has power to create. Second, God desires what he wants, and desires to create but one thing at a time. Third, God consecrates himself to create the one thing he desires at the time he wants it. Fourth, God uses mind to begin manifestation. He thinks what he wishes. Fifth, God loves the image he has conceived, so that it will not remain formless and void. Sixth, God gives multiplying power to his image, so that it will augment itself. Seventh, God uses action to complete his manifestation, to change his thought image into actual existence. Earth and heaven are yours. There is nothing mythical about the means God uses. They are very simple. They are easily used. By common sense examples, let us apply these 7 means. 1. To creating material things. 2. To creating a spiritual condition. First, you cannot feel inclined to begin to make a chair unless deep within you feel that you have the power to do so. Second, if 1 minute you desire to make a chair, the next a piano, the third a bookcase, fourth an icebox, you create nothing. Oneness of desire makes it divine and gives it its power to become a reality. Third, as you consecrate yourself to make the chair you desire, you give yourself the compelling impulse to think, love, live, and make it an actuality. Fourth, you think out just what kind of chair you want to make. You form a mind image of it. A chair of 4 legs or of 3 legs, a chair with a high back, low back, etc. Fifth, you love your mind image of what you want. If you do not love it, it will remain formless and void in your mind. Love it enough to make yourself desire to do whatever is necessary to make it an actual chair. Sixth, You use life, multiplying power. You multiply your ideas of how you are going to make it, what tools to use, what materials to use, what color to paint, etc. Seventh and lastly, you do the actual work of making the chair, or get someone else to do the actual work. Otherwise, your mind image never becomes an actual chair. Whether chair or table, business or health, rich or happiness, each is created by these 7 means. They are the direct uses God makes of his own power in producing what he wants. Applying these means in creating a chair is an illustration of use for material things as an opposite extreme of their use. Let me illustrate their application in creating the true and understanding mateship which every heart desires. Creating true mateship. First, you know that you are part of the mateship you want, and that you have the capacity of being one part of a true mateship. Second, know what you desire. You do not desire a mate so much as you desire true mateship. It is the spiritual relation of perfect understanding for which your heart longs. Third, consecrate yourself to attaining true mateship. This is the very opposite of trying to attract a mate, which so often fails. When you consecrate your soul to be fitted for true mateship, it never fails. Fourth, think the thought image of the mateship you wish. Do not picture a or the mate you wish. Do not picture even the kind of mate you wish. Instead, picture the spiritual mateship of understanding and love which your heart desires. This presents most of the sad and lonely failures you will otherwise experience, and it makes you realize that when you try to attract a mate, you think of one side only, the other person. One-sided thinking does not become true. Unity, true spiritual mateship, does come true because it is complete. Fifth, love your ideal of mateship, but do not try to use love to attract a mate. When you try to attract toward you, you work contrary to God's one law of activity. God shines outward. You shine outward. Shine love outward, and the true mate for you will seek to live in the sunshine of your love. Sixth, give life to your ideal of mateship. Give it multiplying power. Think of 100 elements of true mateship instead of one. Then your true ideal of mateship will be infinite, and the love of the one you need will fit into the ideal. And seventh, live mateship in spiritual action. Mateship is unity, not separation. Cast out every thought of separation, for every such thought makes you act contrary to the divine consciousness of mateship. What you idealize thus will come true. God uses only 7 means. These are the only means you need to attain whatever you want. In the rest of this book, they are simply applied to creating health, riches, and happiness. Reread these 7 lessons of Chapter 2 and make a list of the 7 means. Keep the list by you every day, for it includes all of the means which are essential in applying truth so you can create as God creates. Chapter 3. Just Shine Health. A cell is the tiniest form of life manifested by God. It is a little individual by itself. Some kinds of cells live alone, others live together and form great communities. Your body is made up of billions and trillions of little cells which live together. All of them grouped together form your body. Your body is their world. One nation of cells forms your liver, another nation forms your heart, another your brain, etc. Each cell of your body is an individual. Some are males, others are females. Each one works and eats, loves and mates, marries, reproduces young cell. Each is just as much an individual among its fellow cells as you are an individual among your fellows. Lesson 15. Repression versus expression. When you repress love, you deprive the cells of your body of the love. When they lack love, they do not get along well together, and then there is disease. When you repress life, you deprive those male and female cells of the life impulse. Then they fail to mate and reproduce a normal number of young cells. Consequently, they fail to keep the organs of your body youthful and vigorous. Also, when you repress life, you deprive all the cells of your body of vital energy. The brain feels the effect, and you say you have brain fag. The nerves feel the effect, and you are nervous. The body feels the effect, and you feel weak and exhausted. Without enough life, no cell or organ of the body can perform its work well, and hence one or more conditions of ill health is the result. If you love color and beautiful proportions and repress your artistic capacity, you actually hold back energy which you should radiate and express. Consequently, your body is deprived of that energy. You cannot, of course, freely express yourself when you have rheumatism, but your rheumatism itself is the result of repression. You have rheumatism today because for years you have repressed either love or joy or mirth. Such repression soured your blood and formed acid crystals which harden in your muscles. Likewise, every condition of ill health is due to some repression. Health is freedom of expression. On the other hand, when you express joy, you radiate joy energy throughout your body, and the body is fed with good chemicals which help to keep all the cells well. When you love activity and actively express yourself in what you want most to do, you radiate action energy throughout your body, and your body responds in strength. The first means of God used in expressing health is this. Know that you do possess the power to be healthy. Health is within you. You have it. You have capacity for love, life, action, joy, and mirth. Use these capacities. You have capacity of love for color, music, and motion. Use such capacities. You have the capacity to do the kind of work you most want to do. Use it. You have capacity to think health. Think it. You have capacity to love health. Love it. You have capacity to live health. Live it. You have capacity to act health. Act it. Health is the result of God energy within you, moving ever outward fully and freely. Since you are one of the power rays of God, your energy is limitless. When you let yourself freely express yourself, you consciously feel limitless energy and are well, with abundant vitality, joyous energy, and radiant power. God knows that He is He. I know that I am I, with all capacity to express myself freely in health. Lesson 16. Desiring health. Health comes first, not because it is mere health of the body, but because it is the result of the free expression of your soul. Unless you do express fully, you cannot be successful or happy. Hence, health comes first. It is the first result of free soul expression. Then when you learn to express yourself freely and wisely so that you have health, you are free enough to express yourself creatively and harmoniously so that you will be successful and happy. Desire as God desires. To have health, desire the one thing you need. Remember that health is the result of free expression. Instead of merely wishing for health, desire to express what you really wish to express. Dream of health and work for it, but center your desire on free expression. With free expression, health comes the result. God desires to manifest fully. I desire to fulfill His aim for me. I desire this one thing now, to express myself freely in life and power. Lesson 17. Consecrating yourself to discovering the cause. Consecrate yourself to do all things necessary to be healthy. Unless you are willing to do this, you have no divine right to health, for health is an expression of your soul. If you are not well, there is something within you which is not freely expressed. Discover what it is. Consecrate yourself to cast all false pride aside and seek honestly for the cause of your ill health within yourself. Oftentimes it is something which you would ordinarily never think could be the cause. One dear little gentlewoman suffered for many years from serious back trouble. Being very sweet-natured and a devout Christian, she became somewhat resigned to a martyrdom of pain. She was an extraordinary woman, a ray of power from God. Such power demands expression. Being born a gentlewoman, she felt that she might not use it in this way or that way, but power will out. No soul can thwart God. In her case, it gained expression in a stomping walk of which she was entirely unaware. Every step she took, she jarred her spine. It was cruelly jarred about 20,000 times a day, although she weighed only about 100 pounds. Yet her stomp when she walked was more pronounced than that of an iceman or a coal man I've ever heard. The cause was within herself. It was repressed power. Oh, consecrate yourself to find deep within yourself the cause of your ill health, and consecrate your soul to curing yourself. Your health is the free expression of your soul. The statement, "Only God cures," is true, for God is manifesting through you. As you express yourself fully, God's energy cures you. divine consecration to health. I consecrate my mind to discover the cause of ill health deep within myself. I consecrate my being to express myself freely, fully, completely, radiating God outward each day, each hour. Lesson 18. Thinking Health. Since you are like God, you cannot express health unless you think health. Thinking health is different from thinking about health. Thinking about health is worry. Worry stops your expression, for worry is fear of expression. The best example of thinking health is the strong, vital boy who thinks health itself with such absolute faith that he never doubts it. He never thinks about health. He knows he has it, expresses it, and uses it. Think health as God thinks. First as strength, and second as fearlessness of things. Lack of strength is not due to ill health. Instead, ill health is due to lack of strength. Strength is expression of power. When you do express the power deep within you, you have strength. What is strength? Is there a strength of your body? Is there muscle power? Is there nerve strength? Is there brain power? Or is it all soul power? If you have trained your right arm so that its muscles are stronger than those of any other man in the world, it naturally seems that you have great muscle power. But have you? If I thrust a little lance into your arm at the armpit and cut the big nerve which runs to your arm hangs motionless. All power of your arm is gone and your muscles have no strength at all. Is muscle power, then, only nerve strength? Well, if I sever the nerve from its brain center, the nerve itself has no strength. All bodily strength is soul power. Think rightly of your strength. There is no energy of the brain, none of the nerve, none of the muscles. All power in your body is soul power. You are radiated from God with all his power. It is yours without limit. And since you are radiated from God, you never lack strength. Whenever you express your power, you feel strong. Strength is a result. It is the result of expression. When you think weakness, you repress your power. Such thinking holds back power within you so that it does not radiate in your body. On the other hand, when you express your power, you feel your strength and your body feels strong. When a weak and sickly man becomes insane, he may express so much strength that it takes 6 men to hold him. Such strength is always within. It comes into expression with great desire to express it. When I had been so weak for years that I could not walk across my room, I was able to carry 3 heavy trunks downstairs when the house was on fire. Strength is always present. Use it. It is all powerful within you. Toss fear overboard. No little thing outside of yourself is as powerful as you are. Never fear a banana or a turnip or a pickle. Health is the free expression of your soul. Hence, every time you fear this or fear that, you produce ill health in your body, for every fear shuts off expression of energy from within. Toss fear of things overboard, but cling fast to wisdom. Fear is due to the mistaken belief that some little thing, a peanut for instance, is more powerful in your soul, which forever radiates from God. Wisdom is wise choice of things used. Wisdom is the use of God's intelligence in choosing that which is most beneficial. Think as God thinks. My strength comes from within. I have all power. The more power I express, the more strength I have. Think as God thinks. I fear no thing, for I have rule and dominion over all things. I cling fast to wisdom to pride me in the choice of things I use, and all is well. Lesson 19, Loving Your Health. Love, love, love. Stopping the expression of love is probably the greatest cause of all ill health. Love and joy and activity are God's great healers. Love, love, love. Love yourself and your body. When you awaken each morning, look in the mirror to see yourself as a child of love, shining gloriously. Greet yourself with a welcome of love. Look at your body and love it. Love all people, condemn none. If you hold some special feeling against a medical physician or against an osteopath or against medicine itself, then your condemnation represses you and prevents your own health. You do not hurt the doctor or the medicine, but you hurt yourself. You stop your own soul's expression of absolute love. Whether or not you intend to use their methods makes no difference at all. It is your attitude of love which is important. So love even the means they use, whether manipulation, breathing, exercise, diet, or medicine. If you have been prejudiced against them, wipe out the prejudice by love. Love is the important matter. Love all things. Oh, don't be a materialist. Trust in spiritual wisdom. A materialist is one who believes that there is no spirit in matter. Both physical scientists and teachers of truth know that all matter is spirit. At the present time, only a few mentalist teachers still insist that there is no spirit in matter. So today, such teachers are the only materialists on earth. Teachers of truth, knowing that matter is spirit, no longer condemn it. Instead, they love it as spirit, and use all things as God commands us to do. Since God uses all means to express himself, you shut off your expression of God when you condemn the means over which he has given you to rule and dominion. Moreover, you shut off free expression of your love by doubt, prejudice, and condemnation. The great truth is this: every so-called material is a manifestation of spirit. Love each material God has created. Take a little salt, for example, in your hand. Look at it. God thought a certain idea of substance which he desires to manifest. He loved the idea because he knew that such a material would be of use. He set his forces to work, and salt is the result. It is a thought of God which he has loved and reproduced and brought into actuality. It is an expression of God. You may not need to use materials, but you must not be afraid to use them, and you must not condemn them. Love all things. All are of God. Love every cell. With loving joy, love every cell of your body. Every one is an intelligent and loving little individual. There are billions of them. Your body is their world. They live in it. You and I can only love because we live and have our being in God's love. So these little cells of our body are cells living and having their being in your love. The more love God radiates, the more we feel it and the more we love. The more love you radiate, the more the cells of your body feel it and the more they love. Only by love can billions of them work together in harmony. Harmony in your body is health. Whenever any part of your body aches or is ill, love its cells. As they feel more of your love, they will love each other more. Then they will work more harmoniously together, and the tissues which need to be healed will be healed. Love. I love myself and my body. I love every soul of God. I love every material which God has made and given me to use. I love the cells of my body. As they feel more of my love, there is more love among them, and they work together now to heal all tissues which need healing. Lesson 20. Living health. Oh, do understand life, for life is that mysterious sixth means which God always uses in creating whatever he wishes to create. It is very important, for all your desires and affirmations will stand still in your mind unless you give them life. Life is seen mysterious, and yet it is not mysterious at all. Life is more than sex. Sex is but one little physiological activity of life. Life itself is infinite. It is easily understood when you know that life is the multiplying power of the universe. It multiplies and increases and replenishes all things. Your body is made up of billions of little cells. They are male and female. Your body is their world. You are their God. In you, they live and move and have their being. When any part is diseased, when any part is not in health, it needs new young cells. In other words, it is unhealthy because some of its cells have grown old and are tired and worn out. The tissues need young blood, new healthy cells to heal torn tissue, repair injured or diseased tissue. Aid these little cells to reproduce new young cells. Surround them with the consciousness of life so that they shall mate and reproduce more rapidly. Think of billions of little marriages taking place in the holiest thing in all life, conception and birth of the young. Let this multiplying power flow to every tissue which needs it, and it will grow young cells with youth, strength, health, and vitality. Use life as God uses it. Little cells of my body multiply and increase and replenish my body. Lesson 21. Actualize health. Every recorded health miracle of the Master was accompanied by action. Either someone made great physical effort to get to him, as did the woman who kissed the hem of his garment, or he himself did something or command the afflicted person to do something. The blind man's eyes were washed with mud. The paralyzed man was commanded to take up his bed and walk. The dead was commanded to arise and come forth. Christ did no useless thing. He did nothing for the mere drama of it. Christ used compelling action because action is the seventh means by which all other means are made effective. It produces the actual result. You may think health, you may love health, you may live health into the little cells of your body, but unless you put yourself into healthy action, health will not become actual for you. You know, do you not, that I had an ankle crushed when I was 3 years of age. It was so badly crushed between rollers of a sugar mill that the little bones of the ankle grew together as one bone. I had to keep it in iron braces for years, yet that ankle was finally brought back into normal activity almost entirely by making it act. I actualized the movement of that solid mass until it became active again. You know also that I was an invalid for 17 years. Never for 1 month at a time did anyone expect me to live. I could not walk up a flight of stairs without fainting away. When not in bed, I was carried most of the time in a wheelchair. Keep in mind that I had no imaginary nervous disease, even when a little boy with my knees were so often swollen as large as a water pail, and specialists declared my heart organically diseased, out of shape, and half as large as a beef heart. Yet one day something came to me which demanded action. Up to that time it was the greatest crisis of my life. When the crisis came, I jumped from bed and rushed across the room. Spiritually, I picked up my bed and walked, and from that day I began to get well. Action cures exhaustion. In God we live and move and have our being. He is all power and strength. As you use action, you have strength. If you have rheumatism and feel that you just cannot move, move anyway. Move a little, then move more. Love the idea of being in motion. Then multiply your action by more action impelled by faith, knowing that all strength is yours. It is action which brings power into evidence of strength. It turns power into strength. Continual fatigue or supposed nervous exhaustion is turned in energy held back in nerve centers. Nerve exhaustion is not the result of long years of overwork. It is the result of long years of unused joy. To cure nerve exhaustion, 4 steps are necessary. 1. Stop pitying yourself, for pity represses you. 2. Love activity. 3. Do something. And 4. Laugh hourly. You are a ray of God. You cannot be exhausted if you let yourself express yourself. You have infinite energy. The little cells of your body are infinitely active within themselves. Each is composed of little whirling centers called electrons. Electrons can move 40 million times while you are counting 1. Think of it. And yet you let yourself think that your body may be weak. It is impossible. If you let the spirit of infinite power and activity express freely through you in action, every cell responds and lives its life. And your body thrills with power and manifests strength and health. I arise, take up my bed and walk. Chapter 4. Just shine riches. Whenever God desires to create anything, he expresses it. That seems natural and easy for God to do because he is all power. Since he radiates you in all his power, it is easy for you to do it. The trouble in the past has been that you have tried to draw abundance to you. Well, this is wrong because all radiation is outward. All God's abundance is shining outward in you. So express whatever you want of it. Just as health is the result of your expression in relation to your body, so abundance is the result of your expression in relation to things and people. When you lack abundance, it is certainly due to repression. Either 1, you do not do the work you most wish to do and thus repress yourself in what you do with things, or 2, you hold yourself in, when with others, and thus repress yourself when you are dealing with other people. Of course, you can change both conditions by expression. When you fail to do the kind of work you most wish to do, you make a machine of yourself. A machine creates value for others, but it never creates value for itself. Since you come from God, he does not wish you to be a machine. He intends you to be a soul, to express what you most wish to do. Certainly the kind of work you wish most to do tells you the kind of work which you can do best. Lesson 22. Dare to be rich. God has given a particular abundance to you. It is your capacity of doing what you most wish to do. As you make use of that particular abundance, riches will come to you. This is the first great law of abundant expression. Today, the big word in business is service. The wealth value of service depends upon how you deal with other people and how they deal with you. Whenever you repress faith in yourself, you shut off recognition of yourself by others. When you repress your capacities, others think you lack them. When you repress courage and daring, others feel that you lack the push to be a leader and carry big things through. Such repressions shut off the abundance which should flow to you from dealing with people. On the other hand, everyone who expresses his faith in himself with courage plus capacity wins abundance in dealing with others. This is the second great law of abundant expression. It is very clear that your abundance is within you. When you repress yourself, you lose out. When you express yourself, you win. You have infinite capacity to be expressed. When you express it, munificent abundance is yours. It is not so difficult to change. First, stop holding yourself in because of fear. Second, express your faith in yourself with divine daring. Know that you are you and shine. A soul beam of God knows, I am I. I am radiated direct from God. What I radiate, I express, and what I express is mine. Lesson 23. Desire with divine daring. Whenever you desire anything, desire it as God intends you to desire it. Desire it with your whole heart. Don't desire wealth and then tie an excuse to it. When you desire wealth, do not excuse yourself by saying, well, I don't want wealth for itself. It pays to be honest. Certainly, you do want wealth for itself because wealth of material things is proof of the wealth of your soul's expression. Be spiritually honest and dare to desire riches. Know that you are you. Desire the riches you want. Desire with divine daring. That is the way God does. Daring desire makes you realize your unused capacities, so that abundance is magnificently yours. The world pays the ransom of a king to every soul that dares to desire just what it wants. Daring is divine. God is all riches. I am like him. I dare to desire the riches he intends for me, and I do desire them with all my heart. Lesson 24. Consecrate your true desire. Whatever you truly desire can come to pass. And so it is better and much wiser for you to abandon all your substitute desires and consecrate yourself to the true desire of your soul. Often true and substitute desires are very much mixed up, so I shall tell you one of my own experiences. It will help you to sort out your true desires. These you can make come true. When a very young man, I desired to be a buck and wing dancer on the vaudeville stage. At that time, I thought I desired to do that one thing more than anything else in life, yet it was a mere substitute desire. Up to that time, I had lain in bed or been wheeled in a chair most of my life. I longed for free use of my body. Since one of my ankles had been crushed when I was a baby, I had never been able to play or skip, run or dance, so I thought that my one desire was to be a buck and wing dancer. The substitute desire was so strong that I did go on the vaudeville stage for a week just to be near such dancers. I could have continued to work month after month if I had wished to do so. But during that week, I saw how buck and wing dancers were compelled to live. I realized how little they got for their work. I also learned that vaudeville work was slavery for all of us, and then I realized that I did not desire to be a buck and wing dancer at all. My true desire was greater freedom in expressing myself. I wanted activity, of course, but I wanted greater expression than mere activity of my feet. So giving up this substitute desire, I found the true way of expressing myself fully and happy and rich. Cast all your substitute desires aside. Consecrate yourself to fulfilling your true desire. Determine what you wish most in abundance, and then think and love and act so that it will be yours. One thing is certain. As soon as you desire some one thing strongly, know that you desire it, and consecrate yourself to attaining it. The whole world turns to help you. God consecrates himself to creating whatever he wants. This day, this hour, every hour, I consecrate my thought, my love, my life, my activity, to bring to pass this one thing I desire. Lesson 25. Thinking Abundance. Think as God thinks, honestly and justly. With God, all things are possible. And since God is wisdom and justice, working with God means that you work with wisdom and justice. It would not be just for God to reward you for being foolish. Hence, he does not make good what you may have thrown away by foolish investment. But if you right about face and work with him, you will make 10 times as much as you ever lost in any such investment. Think as God thinks, sensibly. Since God is spirit, he does not rain pork and beans from the sky. He will not make $20 bills circulate around you in your brain and fall in bundles in your lap. And when you are in need of a baked ham, God will not get one from some delicatessen in the sky, wrap it nicely in paper, drop it on your kitchen table. But when you work with God, with love, 1,000,000 loving souls will work with you, supplying you with all you need. God is spirit and works as common sense. Material abundance is the expression of spiritual abundance. It always starts first with thought, which originates all the wealth of the world. For example, thought conceived the electric light and all the other electric inventions of that wizard who invented the electric bulb. Today, the world's wealth, resulting from those electrical inventions alone, amounts to more than the national wealth of Japan. Whether the thing is big or little makes no difference. All wealth is of ideas. The Eskimo pie is a little thing. It was at first only an idea in the mind of 2 youth. But they used their idea and it became abundance to them, worth several millions of dollars. An unused idea is poverty. An idea which is used is wealth. Wealth is born of ideas. Abundance is the result of using your ideas. This is the only spiritual and common sense basis of abundance. If you have misunderstood the truth in the past, be very glad to toss the wrong idea out of the window and think now as God thinks. As you use the spiritual riches within, you express abundant material riches. God is spirit. I think honestly, justly, and sensibly. Material riches are the expression of spiritual riches. All wealth originates in ideas, which God infinitely supplies to me. I use them and never want. Lesson 26. Loving riches to you. Of course, you have heard it said that love is the greatest power in the world, but perhaps you have not yet fully realized just what kind of power love is. Hence, I shall emphasize the truth that love is the only power in all the universe that holds all things together. Naturally, when you want riches, you want them to be held to you, and so love, the only power which does this, is very important in relation to riches. Strange as it may be at first seem to you, possession of riches and wealth centers around debts, money, and yourself. For instance, you cannot hold properties you have, nor enjoy your income unless you can handle the problem of debt. You cannot get the things you want, whether it is a toothpick or a castle, without using money or its equivalent to pay for them. Then also all positions and income in life, whether in the world itself or in a particular organization, depend upon your consciousness of your own soul. Hence, debts, money, and yourself are the only 3 basic elements of all riches and abundance. When these 3 problems are rightly handled, all other problems of abundance are solved. All trouble about debts comes after the debts are incurred. The trouble is always due to lack of love and appreciation. It always starts within the soul of the person in debt. It is the burden of debt which makes it hang on to you, because the burden is the worry within your mind. You worry because you do not know the true nature of debt and hence fail to love it. Debts are the proof of the trust of man in man. They are evidence of brotherhood faith. Love them for what they truly are. Love sets you right about debt. Most people complain and some even whine about paying interest. This is most unjust. And when one is unjust within himself, he gets in trouble over his debt. God does not reward such injustice. For my part, I shout for joy every time I have a chance to pay interest, and I mortgage every property I have for 2/3 of its value. Do you wish to know why? I do so because I know that I am I. I know that I am radiating from God. I know that he supplies me with all his intelligence, wisdom, and common sense. I can get money to use for paying 6 cents a year for the use of $1. That is only 1/2 of a cent a month. And I know that God's intelligence can lead me to use that dollar so it will make at least 10 cents in a month. If I did not know it, I would discredit God's intelligence in me. And when you think of it, you know that you can do it. If you are wise instead of foolish and loving instead of complaining, you know that if you take $1 from your bank and use it wisely for 30 days, you could make at least 10 cents. That is profit at the rate of 120% a year. So every time I pay 6% interest, I shout for joy. Debts are evident of human trust. God is wisdom, you are you. When you love debt as the evidence of brotherhood love, you free your mind from all worry. When you are freed of worry and trust in the God in you, you can easily work out the solution of debt problem. Is money an economic savior? If you want money to hold to you, you must know its real self and love it. If you do not do so, it will always try to keep away from you, just as you try to keep away from the person you think you dislike. Since you do want money, be spiritually honest and admit that you love it. Money is not the root of all evil. What the Bible does say is this: the love of money is the root of all evil. The Greek word, which is wrongly translated love in this particular verse, is never translated love in any other verse in the Bible. The word used in this verse means lust. There is a difference. Lust lacks all idealism. Love is the greatest idealism. The Bible is right. It is the lust of money which is evil. Certainly I do not wish you to lust after money, but I do wish you to know its true self, and to love it so that it will be held to you. Money is a divine savior of time and energy. You live in California, you raise oranges, you want this book. Mr. and Mrs. Town live in Massachusetts. They publish this book. They want oranges. It would waste a lot of time and energy for you to travel to Massachusetts with your oranges to trade them for this book, and it would waste a lot of time and strength for Mr. Town to travel to California to exchange this book for your oranges. Money is the divine savior of time and effort. Love it sincerely and make no excuse about your love for it. If you do, it will try to keep away from you. Love money for what it is. First, it is the divine symbol of service rendered, and second, it is the savior of time and effort. It will be held to you if you love it truly and honestly, for love is the only power which holds things together. You are the center of your wealth. Many a person writes me something like this: all my affairs are held up because I cannot sell my house. I've been trying to sell it for a whole year. I'm holding the price at $5,000 because it is worth it. I've been offered $4,800 but refused because I didn't want to lose that $200. I've been holding to the truth that it will sell at my price because it is a just price. Will you help me? Well, to such a letter I reply: my dear soul, you have not been holding to the truth at all. The truth is this: you are worth at least 1,000 times as much as your house. When you wait one entire year, refusing to sell at $4,800 instead of $5,000, it means that you think so little of yourself that you are willing to sacrifice what you most want to do for $200 and to sacrifice it for an entire year. If you think that your own capacity is worth so little, of course, you get little out of life. Why, with $4,800 plus God's wisdom in you and your faith in God's guidance, you can make twice $200 each year. If you love your little toenail more than you love your life, you will sometimes save your toenail and lose your life. Such an attitude is not in line with God at all. He radiates you in all his power and demands that you express yourself. Oh, turn yourself in the right direction, whether it is a problem of property, position, salary, attainment. Place the real value where it belongs. Property, position, income, and salary are mere expressions of yourself. Look to yourself first. Recognize your own value, then base every transaction in life upon it, and riches shall be yours. Love yourself most. In your life, you are the supreme spiritual value and the supreme economic value. There is no other basis for your riches. God created all things and loves all things. I love all debts as proof of brotherhood trust. My love frees my mind of fear and worry. I set my soul at work to solve the problem of my debt, and it shall be done. I want money, and I honestly love it as a savior of time and energy. I bind it to me by my love of it. I know that I am the God of my own universe of positions and profits, salaries and incomes. I am I. On that basis, I make all these things revolve around my soul, and they are mine. Lesson 27. Living life for abundance. As you recognize your abundant capacities and use them abundantly, they produce abundantly. You do this by using God's multiplying power, by making what you have produce what you wish. Of course, if you insist that you have no special capacity to be used, why, you stop the process right then and there. If you, radiated direct from God, assert that you have no capacity worthwhile, you justly get what you assert, nothing worthwhile. Be very certain that the measure of your abundance corresponds to the measure of your expression of yourself. If you fail to use most of your capacity, you live in poverty. If you use but a part of your capacities, you just get along from day to day. If you develop certain capacities and use them as machines year after year, you get along fairly well. But when you multiply and increase your capacity day by day, abundant riches are yours. Use God's multiplying power, live abundantly, and use your capacities abundantly. Use joy and mirth and daring as well as ideas, thoughts, and plans. Use your capacities. Multiply the use of your capacities. Use all your capacities, and abundance is yours. God is just. I use one capacity and get one reward. I use two capacities and get double reward. I multiply the use of all my capacities, and infinite abundance is mine. Lesson 28. Actualizing abundance. God is so just that when you think a thought of a chair, you get exactly what you should get. You get a thought of a chair. The law is divine and absolute, and none of us can change it. Thought produces thought. Love produces love. Life produces life, and action produces actuality, each after its own kind. Action expresses itself in actuality. This is God's one ultimate aim in all existence. Consequently, if you do not carry your thought into action, you try to thwart God's ultimate aim in creation. Unless you express by action what God radiates to you, you have no right to abundance. Actuality is the result of action. Expressing your abundant ideas by abundant activity reproduces after its own kind and gives you overflowing material abundance. You have a right to all the riches of God which you express. How can you actualize abundance? Well, there is but one way. Act as though you were living in abundance. This is not pretense. It is playing the part of truth in the divine drama of abundance. When you play the part of a hero on the stage, you for the time become the character you play. When you play the part of truth, you become like that which you play. It is the law of God. So each morning set a stage for yourself in your mind. Fill it with all the abundance you wish, everything you desire, just as though you were preparing a stage in a theater with all the scenes of riches you desire. Then act. Play the part of the owner. Act each moment during the day as though these riches were yours now. This is living the truth into action. Live thus for a month and you will marvel at the result. You remember the story of Midas. Everything he touched turned to gold, but he could not use it because he loved gold more than he loved his soul. Love your soul most. Hourly act the part, living the truth into action. And the touch of Midas shall be yours, and riches shall be yours for you to use. Action produces actuality. I play the part of the Lord of Abundance on the stage of riches in the theater of God's infinite supply, and I become what I act in truth. Chapter 5. Just shining happiness. When sunshine bathes your garden in its glory, each blade of grass drinks in the vigor of the sunlight. Each bud opens its petals and reveals its heart, and each leaf sings a song of joy. Now deep from your heart, answer this one question. Can any beam of that sunlight be unhappy? It is impossible, isn't it? Even in imagination, you cannot think of a sunbeam as unhappy. A sunbeam simply cannot be unhappy in its shining. Likewise, since God is the spiritual sunshine of all existence, and since you are one of his rays of sunshine, always shining in glory, you cannot be unhappy. It is impossible. Glorious spiritual sunlight cannot be unhappy. So when you do feel unhappy, as you often do, there must be something wrong with your thought. That is the trouble. It is your thoughts about happiness which make you feel unhappy. You are not to blame for these thoughts because the awful mess has been built up during the ages. Yet the particular thoughts which make you feel unhappy are in your mind, and hence it is worthwhile for you to change them. Since there is such a mess of wrong thinking, taking one step at a time in this and succeeding lessons, then when the thoughts are righted, you will be happy just as certainly as you know that a ray of glorious sunlight is always happy in its shining. Lesson 29. Shine without limit. Happiness is very closely related to love, to the things you love, to the conditions you love, to the activities you love, to the people you love. The little boy whose mother will not let him go swimming with other boys on a certain afternoon feels that nothing in the future can ever make him happy. The little girl who is not permitted to wear her pink dress instead of her blue dress on the particular afternoon when she is serving mud pies to her little friends feels that her heart is broken forever. All unhappiness comes from feeling that we are separated from what we love, and in this we act like little children. We limit our ideas of what we want to do, and then we limit ourselves. We feel that if we do not shine happiness by wearing a blue tie this afternoon, we can never shine happiness again during all eternity. The first step to happiness is to know that you are you, to know that you can shine forever, and that nothing on earth can prevent your shining. It is the love of shining that brings happiness. Know that you are you. Radiate, 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 shine, shine, shine. The more you shine, the more you will know that you can always shine. Then there will be no more unhappiness for you. With continual shining, there is no limitation to your shining, and all happiness is yours. God's first means, I am I. I am a sunbeam shining eternally from God. Shining without limit is happiness. There is no limitation to my shining. I shine, 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 now and forever. Lesson 30. Desire this one thing. The little chap who thinks that his one desire is to be a policeman when he grows up will fail to attain happiness in life if he attempts to build permanent happiness upon such a substitute desire. So you will always fail to be truly happy if you try to build your happiness upon any substitute desire, no matter what it may be. Many who have gained worldwide fame because of their knowledge have been so unhappy that life has not seemed worth living. Many who have attained great power have lived sad and lonely lives. And many a man worth 1 million or 10 millions or more has been so unhappy that he has felt like ending it all. No substitute desire brings happiness. Often a person says, "Oh, I thought that when I had this I would be perfectly happy, but I am not." Most of us are like little children. We follow one vain substitute desire after another instead of realizing the one true desire. No substitute desire, even though fulfilled to the limit, will ever make you happy. Sunshine is sunshine. What then is a true desire? The one true desire, the second means, which leads to all happiness. When you feel that you are separated from things or conditions or people you love, you are unhappy. Unhappiness is a feeling of repressed love due to a belief in separation. When you know that you are not separated from that which you love, you are happy. Happiness, therefore, is a feeling that your love can and will be expressed because you are not separated from that which you love. Hence, both unhappiness and happiness are feelings within you, and what you truly desire is to know that there is no separation. Desire only one thing. Desire only to know that there is no separation. Waste no time in substitute desire. Desire not this and that. All time so wasted is happiness postponed. Desire but one thing, to know that love does hold all things together. Desire this with your whole heart, and you shall feel it, for there is no possibility of separation. Sunshine is sunshine. Every ray always radiates from the sun, otherwise it would not be a ray of light. You are a ray of spiritual sunshine. You are always being radiated from God. Hence, it is impossible for you to be separated from Him. You are infinitely surrounded by billions of other rays. Hence, you cannot be separated or alone. There is no separation. All are one in the joyous sunshine of love. God's second means. As a ray of God's sunlight, I cannot be separated from God who shines me out into existence. In the midst of His sunshine, I cannot be separated from the billions of others about me. I am unified with all in His sunlight of love and am happy. Lesson 31. Consecration of yourself to soul equality. Nearly 2,000 years ago, Christ taught that we are all children of one God. Yet the idea of difference and separation have become such habits of thought that only step by step can we realize that each soul is a ray of God, and that no one manifestation can be separated from any other manifestation. Consecrate yourself today to the ideal of interdependence and soul equality. Cast out all ideas of dependence and independence. One attitude is as mistaken as the other, and neither leads to happiness. The true attitude is that of the Christ. It is soul equality and interdependence. Accept the truth. You are dependent upon every other soul in the universe, and every other soul in the universe is dependent upon you. There is even divine interdependence. You are dependent upon God for power, and God is dependent upon you for manifestation. You are a part of the sunshine of God. You are one of the love rays of God. Every other soul is a love ray of God. All are in the sunshine radiating out from God. The one you love most is a ray of sunshine. The one you think you dislike most is also a ray of the same sunshine. All are rays of sunshine, and none are independent. All are united in one glorious radiation. All are interdependent. The one whom you think needs you to teach him truth as you see it is needed by you to teach you truth as he sees it. For happiness, just shine out on your path. Let every other soul shine on its path. When you shine your way and every other ray shines its way, there's no friction. Shining side by side out from God, there is no conflict. Shining with an infinite number of other souls, there is no separation. There is only glorious unity and happiness. Joyous happiness, happiness each moment of life. God's third means. I consecrate myself to the happiness of freedom. We are all interdependent. I shine out on my path from God. You shine out on your path from God. We are free. In the great freedom of God, there is happiness. Lesson 32. Think what you know. Sunshine cannot be unhappy in shining out from its sun, and you cannot be unhappy in shining out from your God. Yet you can make yourself feel unhappy by the thoughts you think. You may be surprised when I positively assert that most of your unhappiness is caused by thinking that your soul is less than 6 feet tall. Of course you know that your soul is infinite, but in this case, it is not what you know about your soul, but the way you think about it in which causes unhappiness. Because of thought habits of years, you still continue thinking mistaken thoughts, even though you know that they are not true. You know that your soul is infinite, yet you do not think of your soul as outside of your body. You know that infinite soul cannot be squeezed into a 6-foot body, and hence you know that your soul must surround your body. Much unhappiness is due to this spiritual loop-the-loop of knowing that your soul is infinite, and then thinking as though it were not infinite. All unhappiness is due to the belief that you are separated from those you love. If you think truly of your soul, if you think of it as infinite, you will not feel separated from loved ones, even when they are 1,000 miles away. You reach out infinitely. For your happiness, do form a clear thinking idea of what you know. 1. Your body is small, probably less than 6 feet high. 2. Your soul is infinite spirit. 3. Your body is merely the central point in which your soul becomes conscious and from which your soul expresses itself in physical action. 4. You are outside of your body much more than you are inside of it, for you are spirit and radiate all out to infinity. Picture and repicture this thought daily, yes, hourly if necessary, for it banishes 1,000 feelings of unhappiness. Of course, you'll want to see friends often and be with your loved ones, but when you think as you know, you will not be terribly unhappy when their bodies are a few miles or a few thousand miles away. Moreover, thinking what you know, thinking that your soul is infinite and largely outside of your body frees you. Have you not sometimes wondered why you felt so much like a prisoner? It is freedom of soul which gives happiness. When you know that you are largely outside of your body, you realize your infinite freedom of action, and you become conscious of thinking to friends in Chicago or New York or London as easily as we broadcast radio, speech, and music. Your soul is infinite. It reaches out infinitely. No matter where your body may be, your love enfolds those you love, and their love enfolds you. In this there is happiness, joyous happiness. Happiness that is mirthful as rippling waters and as calm as the peace of God. God's fourth means, I know that my soul is infinite. From this hour I think as I know. My soul is spirit. It radiates to all infinity. It enfolds all whom I love. All whom I love enfold me. We are not separated. I am infinite. I reach out in freedom to the four corners of the earth and am happy. Lesson 33. How to love those you dislike. No one needs to teach the sunshine to shine, and no one needs to teach you to love those whom you already love. But trying to love the person you dislike is quite a different matter. In that, you do need help. If you had come to me years ago with such a problem, I would have said, you do not dislike the person you think you dislike. He is a loving Son of God. You love him. Deny that you dislike him. Affirm hourly that you love him. Truth is the basis of all such statements. But I now know that the method is not wise, because such a method either sugarcoats your dislike and makes you think that you have to overcome it, or it sets up a conflict in your mind between your feelings of dislike of a person and your assertion that you love the person. The true solution of such a problem is increase of love within yourself without any thought of the person at all, since love does not grow in conflict, for love is harmony. I now teach you to outgrow dislike in your mind by increasing your love expression in such a way that there shall be no conflict. Begin by loving things and continue increasing and multiplying your love for them until your love illuminates everything in your universe. Start with things, because they will not cause a conflict in your mind. Go about your room, touching each object. Caress everything with your fingertips. Love everything for its beauty or its use. Feel smooth glass and love it for its smoothness. Feel the rough wood and love it for its roughness. Feel soft silk and love it for its softness. Feel hard metal and love it for its hardness. Everything can be loved for its own quality, color, fragrance, form, size, etc., for every quality is of God. Each quality given to a thing is given to it by God for a special purpose. So whenever you think that you cannot love this person or that person, forget the personality for the time, so that there shall be no conflict in your mind, and express your love of things. Thus you increase love expression from within you every moment of the day, whether in your room, on the street, before shop windows, factory or office, out in the woodlands, at the lakeside or on the mountain. Everywhere love all things about you. As your love of things increases day by day, as you express more and more love, all at once you will discover that you are shining so much love that you love all children of God. It is the same wonderful truth. Just shine out your love. Just shine. It works miracles. God's fifth means. I love all things. I love everything. God made it, and I love it. Lesson 34. Extend your happiness. Do you think your canary would be happy if you put him in a cage no bigger than a teacup? All unhappiness comes from self-limitation. Why then do you try to cage up the happiness of your infinite soul inside a 10-mile circle, or a 100-mile circle, or one of 1,000 miles? Your soul is infinite. Give your happiness space. Give your happiness multiplying power. Extend it. Relate yourself in spirit to people away, far, far away. Make your own life happy by living happiness outward infinitely. Daily, no matter where you are, think of someone far away whom it would give you great joy to see, someone you have not seen perhaps for years, or someone whom you may not yet have met personally, someone you wish to see. And then rise from your chair, walk forward to meet the person as though he were in the room. Greet him, reach out your hand. Oh, what a joy to see him. Actually live that which you wish to take place. Then do something more. Live your thoughts of greeting into real action. Write a little note to the friend you have greeted spiritually, or send a little message of love to the dear one, or a note of appreciation to the one you have not yet met. Do this daily, but do not limit those you thus greet spiritually. Greet a different soul each day. Extend your happiness. Give it multiplying power until it encircles the globe. Then you are bound in unity with all you love. God's sixth means. I live happiness. I multiply it. I extend it out, far out. My soul is infinite. Wherever you are, my love enfolds you. Wherever you are, your love enfolds me. I am happy. Lesson 35. Actualizing your happiness with others. Nothing in all God's universe comes into actual manifestation until it is actualized. To actualize love means to use it in action, to let it act in accord with its own nature. Love is of God and partakes of his nature. His one activity is shining outward. Love to win love. Love must be allowed to shine outward without any interference from within yourself. When you let love shine outward, it wins you the soul and love of others. And there is no struggle, no separation of mate or sweetheart, parent or child, father, mother, no separation from any child of God. To shine outward is the law of the action of love. But, dear soul, what have you been trying to do? When you have desired the love of others, have you not tried to draw their love to you? Have you not tried to attract their love? Well, I do not blame you, for I know how much you have longed for love. But you have been trying to make love act contrary to its own nature and contrary to God's nature. This is why your effort to attract the love of others so often fails. When you try to attract the love of another, you try to pull the other soul toward you, and then it tries to pull away from you. The reason is, the other soul is a ray of God just as you are a ray of God. It knows its divine right to be itself. So when you try to pull it this way or that way, of course it reacts. It reacts because it is a ray of God, shining outward in its own right. Moreover, when you try to attract the love of others, you try to shine out and pull in at the same time. It simply does not work. So what shall we do? Why, do just what God intended you to do. Shine your love outward. Flood everything about you with love. Bathe things and conditions and others in the sunshine of your love. And what is the result? When the sun floods all things in the glory of its sunshine, flowers bloom, trees leaf out, and the grass becomes green. Then you long to be out in the sunshine. You desire to bathe yourself in it. You wish to be enfolded by it. There is no need of the sunshine pulling you because you desire to get into it. So shine your love outward toward the thing or condition of love you want, and then, as the sunshine of your love floods all things and people about you with its glory, the love you desire will be enfolded in your love. And the person you love will desire to be in your sunshine. You will not need to pull nor try to attract. The other soul will long to get into the sunshine of your love. It will rush to get in, and the love you want will be yours. God's seventh means. I let love act in accord with its own nature. I shine it out unlimitedly. I flood all I love in the sunshine of love, and all I love is enfolded in it. End of chapter. End of book.